Hi, Pam.
Hi, Barbara, and hi, everyone. I feel honoured and privileged today to have the opportunity to interview Barbara Goldsmith, world-class astrologer, highly accomplished and experienced, with a very special extra gift to her astrology, which is what we're going to be talking to her about today. But before we get into that, I just really want to recommend to you Barbara's product. She tends to hide her light under a bushel, I think, because she has 3 books out there which are terrific for learning astrology. I know many of you are interested in doing that. She has a book called Learning Astrology. She's got a book about the moon cycles, a book about the elements, and also 3 videos that are teaching astrology. And I'd really recommend the highlights of her 2-day 2020 video, where she's looking at the astrological developments as we move up to that very important year of 2020, and it is packed with information. So you just go into Barbara's website, yourastrologysigns.com, into her store, and you can find all those products there at terrific value, I have to say. So welcome, Barbara.
Thank you very much, Pam. I'm speechless with that, the warmth of that welcome. Thank you. It's a joy to be with you.
It's terrific. So and I know a lot of people are interested in this new aspect of you, this new gift of channeling. So how did it all begin? How did you find out that you could channel?
Well, Pam, I was going through a very dark night of the soul, let's call it, where I felt as there was just no more hope. All the things that I had worked on, worked with, all the things that I had worked towards felt as though they were crumbling, and they were. And I felt deeply lonely, deeply alone, and I didn't know quite where to turn. And having had a lifetime of turning to teachers and parents and friends and this one and that one, I realized that I had to go within, that it was not going to be something external to me necessarily that was going to be able to give me the answers that I was looking for. And so it was really out of a desperation place that I suppose what happened was I opened myself up to a different frequency.
And can you tell us a little more about how you actually do that? When you say you opened yourself up to a different frequency, how do you actually do that? Because people would be very interested, you know, if they have a sense of that same gift.
Yeah, well, I do believe that everybody has that ability. I think we do it in different ways. I think musicians do it in their way, with the music, with their art, with writing, with speaking. I think there's many ways of getting into that deeply creative zone. It's a very creative space. And I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful start to the channeling by Summer Bacon, who is a very experienced channel, and I had this first coaching session with her, and that just really sort of opened the floodgates. And it's really about surrendering rather than pushing. And I've had a lifetime, and I think our educational system, I think everything that we do, Pam, is based upon achievement, on pushing and growing and learning, and that does have its place. But there has to be a balance between then learning how to receive. And I've just read the most wonderful book by one of my clients, actually, Elizabeth Ann Dumont, who's written a book called The Lioness and the Crab. And it reminded me of astrology: the lioness, the lion, the sun, and the crab, the moon. The yang and the yin energies. The competitive, prideful lion, and the moon, who's just tuning into the tides and gets washed up when the tide washes her up on the land and then back out to sea again. And I feel that with the channeling, I've been able to tune in to the tides and the moon energy. And I think there's no accident that you've written your best-selling Amazon book about the moon's nodes and how amazingly successful your book is and how amazing. And I want to recommend Pam's book as well, please. Pam, just tell us it. I want to get it right. The title.
How to co-create using the secret language of the universe.
Fantastic. Thank you, Pam. I highly recommend this book because I think that we are coming into a time of more of this moon energy, more of this lunar type of energy, of balancing, should we say, the patriarchy, the masculine type of energy, which has its place. I'm not saying, I'm ditching men and masculinity. It's got a wonderful and important place. And there's the balance now to the surrender, and the channeling comes through surrender and not through pushing.
It's very interesting what you say, because of course with Jupiter having just moved into Scorpio, that could well bring up an interest in deep spirituality, past lives, etc., channeling, telepathy. So I think that whole area is I'm sure you'd agree, very likely to expand. So that's why I think this interview is so timely, because there's so much interest in this. So it's really a question of just opening up and listening.
Asking, being willing to, I set the tone initially about, especially in the beginning when Summer was training me, to call in the spirit of love, the spirit of light, the spirit of inspiration, and the spirit of truth. And you can call in different ones, those, whatever feels right to you, and you attract those frequencies then. Those frequencies come into your space if you are quiet enough and surrender your breath as well. It's about surrendering everything and then just really seeing what happens. And that's what happened for me. I didn't have a preconceived idea because I'd never channeled before and had never seen angels and had never done anything like that, except when you're very little, but I'd never explored that.
So, because that's very interesting, because some people may be quite concerned about, what are you attracting in? Are you attracting entities which aren't terribly positive, and how would you deal with that? But you're saying you prevent that by setting the frequency before you surrender, the high frequency of love, etc.
Yes, and I think that you just are clear. Yes, you just keep yourself clear. Yes, I have to say that Summer Bacon channels Dr. Peebles, and originally Dr. Peebles was my gatekeeper. Yes, he said, I'm your gatekeeper, and I'll, and that really soothed me. That was a soothing. And you can say to yourself, I'm safe. Please come in, whatever is for my highest self, my highest good.
So it was never a frightening experience for you?
Not frightening from the perspective, Pam, of it being frightening entities. I never felt frightened by some kind of funny type of thing that might come in and attack me, no. But when the channel actually opened, it was quite it was unnerving because it was something I'd never experienced before, and it's still evolving. I've only been doing it just over 2 years, but when the voice starts to come in and the sounds start to come, and you realize that you're not consciously making those sounds, it was really weird. And it's about getting comfortable with weirdness.
And Barbara, how do you know that it's the Pleiadians who are coming through you as opposed to any other beings?
It's a great question, Pam. Thank you. Really, just right at the very beginning, when I could hardly get the words out, because this is how it was at the very beginning for me. It was like, we are, it was quite an effort. And this went on for hours and hours and quite a few days, but I finally got that we are the Pleiadians. Finally came through, and it came again and again and again. And so I just learned that, all right, I'm trusting that.
And how would you define their energy, their frequency? Is it love?
It's loving, it's joyful, it's playful, it's deeply informative. There's always something new that comes in that I never anticipate. Yeah.
And how has it changed you, the channeling?
It's made me open to life, open to more experience, to experience everything that there is in life. I had everything so limited down to, shall we say, a form of life, a structure, a job, work, videos, relationships, money, the things that I could see. And I thought I could somehow control those things. And this has just opened me, and I'm just, it's connecting me to more people, more love. It's a constant development. Once you get into this channeling, which I'm hoping people will, by seeing some of the changes that I'm sharing with you. And it's got its challenges. It's not like, oh, I can channel, my life is fabulous, I have no more challenges. Not at all. If anything, you've got more challenges, and you're stronger, you know that you're not alone. I truly know I'm not alone now, that we are not alone.
Yes, that's one.
That's a different perspective and a different feeling, yeah.
And how has it changed your astrology, would you say?
I'd say it's deepened it. It's given me a greater depth, a greater ability to, because I've opened up, I can now connect more with my clients. I can connect more with the deeper issues going on in the chart. And I think that's where you go, Pam, in your consultations, and certainly with your books and your videos, you're going on to that deeper level. And I think that's, the question, isn't there something more than this? That was my question. There's got to be more than this. And
so that's really suggesting that the Pleiadians know all of astrology and almost have access to, what would you call it, the Akashic records, or all knowledge in some way?
To be honest, Pam, I'm still exploring my ability. I feel, I'm young in this, and I don't know, is the honest answer. It's every time they come out with something I could not have thought of.
Wonderful, wonderful. And does it feel like a huge risk to share the channeling with other people?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because astrology, I've studied. I know that I've learned it. I'm still learning, 40 years on. But it's something I've done, many thousands of charts, as have you. And I feel as though I'm somewhat an expert in the field. It's such a vast field, it's nerve-wracking to even use that word. But let's say I feel as though I've got some experience in that field. Whereas when you're channeling, you're trusting whatever's coming through. You've no experience. You have no idea what is going to be said. If I'm channeling for a person or a group, I have no idea what's going to come out. And sometimes I'm cringing. It's like, yikes, yeah? It's because I'm conscious. I do hear everything and I do know what's being said. But often it would not be necessarily something that I would say. So it's...
Sorry, do you actually offer personal channeled readings for people? Because you offer astrology readings, but do you actually offer on your website personal channeled readings?
I don't publicize it, but I do have clients who've asked me, and I do channel readings, or sometimes people want a little astrology, a little channeling. So it's really evolving. Again, something that I'm not feeling to push out there. It's something that's somehow becoming.
Wonderful. And do you also offer channel readings for, say, a group of people?
Yeah, I've done that, where people come, there's a group and each has a question or two, and then each person would sit in the hot seat and be able to ask their question and get their answer.
That's really wonderful. And would you quite soon in the future start to publicize it, because you're building experience with it all the time, and I'm sure it's something that people are so fascinated by increasingly, because just a few years ago it would have been considered quite a strange thing, but I think it's becoming more and more accepted. I mean, if you're already interested in astrology, you're already operating in a niche market, so another step towards another niche isn't such a big deal, perhaps. So you're going to start to put those on your website, you think, with a little more surety?
I don't know, Pam. I can only tell you right now, no.
Okay, you're waiting for people to actually request it?
Not so much waiting, just allowing to see whether it's supposed to be the path I'm going on. I've always been the one, setting the intention and this and that and the other. And that's worked in its own way. And now this is just a different way of being. It's like flowing. It's like that crab that flows in and out with the tides, to know when to flow backwards and when to flow outwards, so to speak. And I suppose I'm feeling my way, Pam, going sideways a lot.
That's wonderful, because I've experienced this, and the information that the Pleiadians are able to bring through is astonishing, because it's so precise, it so resonates with the individual, but also when they talk about global events, that really resonates too. So the material is incredibly wise and deep and insightful. It's truly remarkable, and you seem to be able to go into trance at a second, just in a second. It's like, is it that they're always there, ready to come through?
Yes, it's like having a dialogue all day, every day. It's like having friends with you all the time. Yes, it really is. And I guess that's what it's like when you're little. When you're talking to fairies and elves and angels, and we discount that. Yes, but little children do see that. You see, especially little ones who haven't got that thinking mind going and the judgment going. They're full of those angelic spirits, and I think that that's what the channeling can bring out, is that childlike playfulness of life, and not taking it too seriously.
So you think everyone has this capacity?
Yes,
channel
in
high
different
level
ways, no question. No question. How many times have you thought, you've thought of somebody and the phone goes and that person's on the phone?
Yes.
Right? I mean, these are just little examples.
Yes.
But everybody has it, and it's a question of how much you want to develop that, how much you want to have it be a focal point of your life, if you like. Yeah.
So we can ask any questions of the Pleiadians. We can ask deeply personal questions about our own circumstances, yes, our own health, maybe, in our own personal lives. But we can also ask them about global events. So, I mean, would you be happy now to channel a little about anything the Pleiadians would like to communicate to us now?
Perhaps sure. I just need to address what you just said.
Okay. Yes. Please do.
I've got to admit, people do ask me about health. I feel uncomfortable answering questions about health. I'm not a medical doctor. I've not been trained in this area. I'm interested in it, and it's not my training. So the Pleiadians do say things, and that's the one area I'm not comfortable with. When they say other stuff about relationships, work, career, soul, destiny, all those kinds of things, I feel as though I'm more open to receiving those messages. Again, it's to do with my vulnerability. So I just wanted to set the record straight as to where I'm at right now.
I understand completely. And when you're doing your videos, Barbara, your update videos, and you do so many of them, you're so prolific, do you feel that the Pleiadians are actually coming through you when you do those too, to some extent?
To some extent, I guess they are. Yeah, I mean, it's like once you've opened a door to a particular radio channel, you can just keep tuning into it. You know, you like 93.5. I like that channel. I'll keep tuning into it. So once you can do that, you can do that. It's like riding a bike.
And I sort of sense it in how your astrology has changed over the last, year or so. I've sensed a real change, a real flow, and an increasing depth in how you interpret what's coming up for us. It's been remarkable. So is there anything the Pleiadians would like to share with us now, particularly maybe about the times we're living in, because they're such important, powerful times from now moving through to 2020? Is there anything specific they'd like to give us as guidance or wisdom in terms of how we should handle what's coming up for us in these next 3 years?
Yes, of course. We're always ready. We're always at the ready, Pam. We want to thank you very much for really coming along today and interviewing Barbara about this. We love you very much, dear Pam, and you've been a great support to Barbara over the last couple of years. You know, you've had many conversations where you've really supported her and us in somehow coming out more, and we love you very much. We do, Pammy. Yes, we do. Pammy. We like this name for you, Pammy. Oh, we love you, Pammy. So, about now, you see, Pammy is a lot of fun, you know. We want you to know this. Sometimes she comes over a little serious in her videos, but she's ever so funny, you know. She's hilarious. Anyway, we just want you to know that these are interesting times you live in. Yes, and you are aware of that. And we are aware that many of you are going through quite a lot of ups and downs. Yes, it's like up one moment, down the next. Up, down, up, down, up, down, yes? Maybe you can identify with that yourself, Pam, in some ways, yes? It's like one day you're feeling really right up and strong, and the next day it's like, I've got to get myself moving here, yes? Because the energy of the planet is shifting. And it's a huge shift. So what you've been born with is not what is here now. So it's almost like the comfort of your home is not the same comfort as it once was. Yes? The chairs and the things are moving around. There is a movement of energy. So even although things look as though they're in the same place, they're not. Even things look as though they're the same, they're not. They're very different, and it's about really allowing yourself to receive the new energies that are coming in, and to allow yourself to see things rather differently than you've been seeing them. Because you see, we've been programmed. Yes, the programming is strong. You program a computer to do one thing, it'll do it. Yes, for the most part, until Microsoft Windows takes over and shuts you down, or whatever your program is and does this. But for the most part, it'll do what it's told. And most of you are doing what you've been told. Yes, you rebel a little bit, but no, it's minor. It really is minor. And now is the time, as we move into 2020 and beyond, of really becoming you. Just becoming you. And many of you don't know what that is. Who am I? There's questioning, a lot of questioning going on. It's good. But don't be afraid to look at something from a different angle. That's why we changed Barbara's hand. 58 years she'd been writing with that right hand. Well, it's got a bit tired. How about writing with the left hand? You see? How about doing things with your left hand? That's just a simple example. But boy, your wiring in your brain changes when you look at something differently. When you're willing to see a new perspective. You see, we're thinking here of Donald Trump. Oh, goodness gracious, how dare we mention the name. You see, some of you love him, some of you hate him. It's just a perspective, What on earth does it really, really matter at the end of the day, you see? You get hung up on your perspectives, really strong. Time to see other viewpoints. Because you're going to have to see other viewpoints. We are moving into a time where the ETs are coming in droves. And energy is shifting, and you're going to see yourselves differently. Your physical bodies are changing more rapidly than they've ever changed. The DNA is shifting. There are many things to share, but in this interview today, we are just telling you, be prepared to use your body differently. Anything that you do the same way, do it the other way. If you come in the door with the right hand, use your left. Just do something differently every day, become aware. How can I do this differently? You see, 'cause that's where creativity lies. Creativity lies in putting together different things that don't normally go together. You see, that's what's creative. And you block that creativity the minute you block another perspective. You block it. Don't like him, don't like her, what a load of rubbish. You block something. Doesn't mean to say you have to agree with it, but you block. When you block one thing, you block it all. So anyway, we are just giving you a little food for thought.
So that's fascinating. Thank you, Pleiadians. And many people are feeling this speeding up of consciousness as well.
Yes.
And many people are starting to experience an opening up of consciousness. And presumably, do you feel that that's going to accelerate even more?
Yes, it's happening. It's happening. That's why people want to tune into things like this. Because you see, it's not only the words. It's far more than the words. There is an energy, shall we say, that comes through the words, you see, that affects people on a vibrational level. If they're open to it, not everybody, you see. Some people say this is bullshit, what a load of rubbish, and that's okay, you see. We don't mind. A little bit of bullshit here and there, that's all right too.
So you would say that abilities or gifts such as channeling and telepathy are going to become more and more common for people?
Very much so, yes. And it's accelerating, you see, more and more and more. It's going to become something that people just are aware of. They don't need words so much.
And will this move of Jupiter into Scorpio, in your view, deepen people's spiritual understanding and exploration? Will this open up the whole area of past lives, perhaps, for people with much more depth and meaning?
Yes, most definitely. It's also going to open up sexuality. This is going to be a big one. A big one. Yes, the Kundalini energy that so many talk about, you see, but most have not experienced, not fully. This is now rising, because you see, you need that Kundalini vibration. You need the whole body to be activated to come in contact with everything that is available to you. You see, if you've got various chakras that are closed down, you can't receive everything that is out there. You see, you're not a full receiver. You receive a little bit, So in answer to your question, Jupiter into Scorpio, sexuality, the opening up, the allowing of different types, an understanding of sexuality, a deeper understanding of what it is there for, a deepening of everything connected with the unseen worlds, and also a releasing, a letting go. It's going to have to be a time of great releasing and letting go and trusting. And knowing that right here, right now, as you watch this video, you're fine. Right here in this moment, you're perfectly fine. and really getting in tune with that. But no, there will be many people who will be transmitting a new message of love, of joy, and of different things on this planet, and at the same time all the other darker energies will still be going on. It's a matter of how you perceive them and how you then deal with these different frequencies.
Wonderful. And just sticking with the astrology for a little longer, with
yes, we love that.
Jupiter's just moved into Scorpio. Next May, as Barbara is well aware, Uranus is going to move into Taurus, and both signs have a lot of issues around control and power, and also the financial world. Do you have any comments on those areas?
We're going to say, we're going to just say, don't hold on to anything. Anything you're trying to hold on to is going to just evaporate. Just let it go. Anything you're holding on to, let it go, and allow to come to you what is supposed to come to you. Now, boy, that's not easy to do for the humans who've been living up until now. Some of you newbies, it's easier for. But it's very much going to have to be a time of releasing, of trusting, and of seeing that you're going to have to work together more. And you're going to find new ways of growing food, of cultivating food, of eating food, of nourishing yourselves at deeper levels. It's going to be a wonderful time. Potentially, it's got great, shall we say, it's got a lot of leverage. You can leverage yourselves onto a different platform with Jupiter in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus, and of course all the Capricorn energies coming in 2020. You are being challenged to deal with form, atoms, molecules in a different perception.
Gosh, that's fascinating. Can you say a little more about that?
Well, we could talk to you for about 4 days, but within what we're doing now, we did a good job. Your Scorpio rising, Pam. We know you like this kind of thing, going deep. Pam is very good at going deep. She's excellent. Just don't ask her too many personal questions. She doesn't like that too much. But anyway, Pammy, we love you. See, isn't Pammy fun when she laughs? Yes, you see, lovely. And you see, your form world is breaking apart. And you're seeing that. You realize that. You realize that the way the structures have been put together largely are really just hopeless. And you're not going to get anywhere by trying to change those structures. You create your own new different forms. The forms are very different and they're much more fluid. There has to be fluidity. You're moving to earth and water signs. Fluidity is key. Earth, planet Earth, the richness of earth and the fluidity of water. And remember, you're 98% water. You don't realize that. You don't perceive it. You get it on a mental level. But you don't realize it. And if you could only get into that flow of your atoms and molecules, your life would be so much easier. So much easier. Really. We're not saying you don't need a certain amount of structure. Don't get us wrong. It's not about, just, one without the other. No. It's just different kinds of structures now that are more gentle, more nurturing, and can encompass all of us, not just few, all. And that's really where we're coming into. We're coming into. The gates are opening, the doors are opening. Now you choose whether you want to join the party.
Fascinating, Pleiadians. And would you say that 2020 is really going to represent the pivotal years? We have that big conjunction in Capricorn and then the shift of Jupiter and Saturn into Aquarius in December 2020. Would you say that really represents a shift from current power structures, governments, big corporations that have held a lot of power into something which is much more horizontal in terms of the way power is shared?
It will move towards it at that point. You won't be through it by then. There will be a moving towards it. No question about that. No question. So in that way, it is pivotal. And certainly the next 8 or 10 years after that will also be very pivotal in how you then co-create, to use your word in your book, co-creating the secret language of the universe, you see, and we highly recommend Pam's book, you see, because it's about going in and then taking it outwards. So inwards first, the inward journey, and then dealing with the outer world, because when you work on yourself internally, your outer world completely changes. You agree with us, Pam?
100%. 1000%. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we like that, 1,000.
Wonderful. And anything else that you would like to share with us, Pleiadians, that you feel is important to communicate to us as a group of interested people at this time? Very interested in astrology, very interested in channeling. Anything else you would give to us as advice and wisdom?
Well, just really, just trust. Trust yourself. Trust information that comes to you. The first thing that comes, believe it. The first thing that comes in, believe it. Trust that, because the first thing is the purest thing. Once you get in beyond that, it's usually a little bit adulterated, so to speak. So when you stay open and you get that message, don't get on that bus. When you get that message, don't write that letter, don't send it yet. When you get that message, take the property off the market. When you get that message, move to another state. Pay heed and ask for answers here and there, and you'll be given. Ask and it is given, and boy, it is given in droves. It's just half of you are wandering around with blinkers on.
Thank you, Pleiadians. You've been truly wonderful to share some time with, and I know it's quite tiring for Barbara to do this. So thank you so much for all that you've shared with us today. Really appreciate all your love and wisdom. Thank you.
We love you, Pammy. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, because we know that you have quite a following and many people do love you out there, and we can't say we blame them.
Thank you so much, Pleiadians. You're magnificent.
We love you.
Thank you so
We're going
much.
to bring Barbara back. Is that all right?
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Barbara, that's so exquisite, and it feels very high level information. And you hear all of that, do you? You're cognizant. Yes. You're aware of it all.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Wow. Wow. And all the time you feel it's becoming richer and deeper and more fluent in the advice you're able to give to people.
It seems to be developing, let's put it that way. Each day is an adventure, Pammy.
It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So is there anything else you would like to share with us about this wonderful gift you now have of channeling? Is there anything else you'd like to say before we bring it to a close? I mean, many people have commented on the huge change they've seen in you over these last 2 years. And you sense that?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, everything's changed, so to speak. I think I just want to say a very big thank you. I feel really deeply grateful to so many of you. I get lots and lots of emails, lots of comments, lots of sharings, and I'm just really thankful. And I just want to say to you, if this is something that you're interested in for you, then just keep asking for it and don't expect anything, and you might be amazingly surprised. And thank you, Pam, for your time today and for the honour of being in your presence.
No, it's been a complete joy. It's always wonderful to spend time with you and also with the Pleiadians. They're a complete inspiration, and really filled with. It will be, I think, an increased ability by many people to channel, but you're ahead of the pack. So you are you know, you're leading edge in what you're doing, and it's so amazing that you are able to offer a combination of astrology and channeling for people, because I really sense that the Pleiadians take the astrology to a very different level, a very different perspective, and that's just so incredibly valuable. So thank you for your time today. I'd just like to remind everyone of Barbara's website, which is www.yourastrologysigns.com. Don't forget her store with the products, the books, the videos, all of which are incredibly rich information to help you learn more about astrology, because I know so many of you out there are very keen to learn more. So thank you, Barbara, for your time, and thank you, Pleiadians, again for all the wisdom. It's been a joy.
Thank you so much, Pam.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.